this video, I want to talk about how to get your shoulders really strong. And I will be talking about grip training too, later part of this video. But right now, this one exercise really helped my pressing. My triceps, it even made my tricep push downs, lying down extensions, everything really strong on my triceps and my shoulder press. Even when I did seated shoulder press, this one exercise really made my shoulder press stronger. And it's bench press lockouts. It really didn't help my bench press. I wasn't a very good bench presser, but it did help me in my shoulders and tricep pressing. And here, let me play this and let me show you what he's doing. He's just doing lockouts there. That's it. Each rep by itself. I think he does about 3 reps here. It's a lot of weight too, but it's just lockouts. It's not full range, of course. And here's another guy, 765. This guy's a power lifter. You might want to check out his channel too. He's trying to I think he's trying to get 700 bench press full range, but this is just a lockout. Here, let me play this. And he holds it there. He doesn't do he only does like 1 rep, but he holds it there to make your tendons and elbows, everything really strong, and get used to holding that weight. And believe it or not, your shoulders and triceps get so strong in this. He has a lot of weight on there. That's this one's gonna be 855. He does the same thing with this one. He just holds it there. That's strengthening your tendons. The top range presses. This is by Nick Nelson, the first guy I showed you, and you definitely want to go to his channel too. He has a lot of different exercises for different things. Weird exercises too. You might be kind of embarrassed to do some of the exercises that he shows because people will be looking at you like, "Wow, you're kind of weird," but they're really cool. It's something different if you want to try it out. But this exercise, the top range, you can handle way more weight at the top range of your bench press. So you're taking out the weak end. You're not even doing that. You're just loading up on the lockouts. And you could do middle range too if you only want to go down halfway. But of course, you won't be able to use that much weight. You will use less weight than in a total lockout. But let me see the top range press, the real power range. See, when you flat bench at the top rank, you use really heavy weights. You can use over 200% of your maximum bench press weight. And this guy said he used over 700 pounds, got a body weight of 200, but you got to work up to it. You can't start out like that. If you can, bench press, say 200 for 1 rep, you might want to just do lockouts with maybe just add a 10 on each end and do that. You got to start out real light. Don't go too heavy, and then work your way up. You gotta give your elbows and your shoulders, those tendons, you gotta give them time to heal. So, and you're gonna be lifting off the racks. You gotta do this in a power rack at a gym, or if you have a power rack at your house, because you don't want to drop the weight on yourself. And you want to set it about 3 to 5 inches below your full lockout. And this range for the bench press allowing you to use the most possible weight. And like I said before, my shoulders got so much more stronger. I could military press way more weight after I did a couple of workouts with this top range lockouts. You might want to do it like, say, if you do it on a Monday, you could probably do it again on a Friday. I don't know. You got to test it out. You got to make sure you recover and you're not sore, because when you do tendon training, you go heavy, you're going to need a lot more time to rest than if you're just doing regular reps, full range reps for muscles, because muscles heal a lot quicker than tendons. But I noticed after a couple of workouts of the heavy lockouts, my tricep push downs, I could do way more weight, and my shoulder pressing, I could press more. So by being able to lift heavier weights in those exercises, my muscles got bigger and stronger. So even though this is kind of like a bench press, I mean, it's you look at it and you're like, wow, this is an exercise for chest. Really, it hits my shoulders and triceps a lot more. Well, it's a lockout position anyway, so in that range of movement, you're working your shoulders and triceps more than really your chest, anyways. But you might want to try this exercise if you really want to get stronger in your triceps and shoulders to bring those muscle groups up. I want to start out on talking about grip training. Um, my gym used to have one of these grip machines, and they got rid of it. And so I'm like, wow, I'm gonna have to get one for myself because, you know, I think training your grip is very important. And I got this on Amazon. And the one thing I like about this that my gym didn't even have is you can put these bands on it. Let me see that one. You can put this band up here, and then you put it on that one. And then you take the same band and you put it down here. Let me see here. Gotta hook it on this. Kind of hard filming and hold the phone at the same time. All right. Yeah. So as you can see, there's one band on the one end, and there's another band on this end. And it makes it, see, I can't even pull it up with one hand. It's hard, but when you have two hands, you can easily do it. But it's easier when you start out, and then the farther you bring it up, the harder it gets. So you're really training the upper part. And and then you can put weights in that middle bar. Put 25-pound weights or 45. There's my cat Danny. She has to be around me whenever I'm working out. She's pretty funny. Excuse me. But so I like to use this machine at times, and when I get bored, not bored, but when I want to do something else, because I want to get really good in strengthening my hands, I will use these grippers. And let me see. Look at Danny. She rolls around in that litter box like it's a sandbox. Come on, Danny. You're not a kid. Well, actually, you are. You're not even a year old. But Danny, get out of there. Come on. She does that every time I come in here. She has to roll around on that, and then I got to wipe her down with a wet paper towel. All right. Let me see. This gripper is 250. This is pretty hard. I can't even do it now. I'd have to warm up even before I try that because I don't want to strain my hands. This one is 150. I usually, after I warm up my hands, I usually do a bunch of reps, bunch of sets with this one, and then I move on to the 200, or no, the 200. I start out with that one, 150, and then I go to the 200. I can easily do it with my right hand, close it for about 3 reps, maybe 4. And by closing it, you have to touch these ends together. That makes a full rep. So I can do that with my right hand. My left hand, I can close it, but I can't touch it quite yet, the ends. And therefore, it wouldn't even count, but I still do it anyways because I want to strengthen up my left hand, even though it's injured right now. I injured my wrist. Whenever I turn my wrist this way or that way, when I pronate and stuff like that, the back of my wrist hurts. So it's getting better. So actually, I will train my left hand by squeezing this towel, bringing it up and down. Let me show you. I just go like this, and then your forearm will get such a pump, and then you just keep doing this for reps. You do that. It's hand health. It's really good for your hand. I do a big towel with both hands when I first warm up before I do anything, and then I just do this with a bunch of reps, and I squeeze it really hard. And I don't want to do any grippers right now because my wrist is hurt. So I'll just do that, and then with my right hand, I will just do all this gripping stuff. And the 250, that's a one. All right, here's a 250. That's hard. I don't even think I can close it with my right hand. I can get close, very close, because my right hand's a lot stronger. I would like to I need to get the Captains of Crush grippers, because that's where everybody usually goes by. So when I can do a bunch of reps with this 250, then I'm going to buy a number 3 Captains of Crush. And that is really hard to close, but I think if I could do a bunch of reps with this one, then I could probably close a number 3 or get close to it. Or I got to practice with it and then, keep building up my strength. And of course, my left hand's always weaker than my right, so therefore, my left hand, I got to try to bring that up on these grippers too, so it will always be behind. And then, but what I did buy from Amazon is this grip. I'm going to talk a little more about this gripper later on, but this is you can make it harder. It's a couple of. I'll show you later on this gripper, and it has extensions to make it easier. You screw them in. I will show you that later on. But I'm so into grip. I bought all these implements. And then here's the pinch grip. This is where, come on, it's weird filming and showing this at the same time, but gotta get used to it. This is where you pinch and you lift up. You lift up with usually 2 hands. You put the weights down on that loading pin, and then I usually use 2 hands, and I lift up. It's like a little deadlift. And you pinch this, and you try to do a lot of weight. And it's really good for your hands. It makes it really strong, but it's hard. I'll put a couple more plates on there when I use 2 hands. There's Danny again. Looking out the window. There's always a cat wandering around. And she usually looks out the window for him. And usually they look at each other through this doorway. But, it always makes sure the litter box is clean when you're working out in here. That's what I do. Then here's another implement. You put it on the loading pin. You just, hook it up to the loading pin. And you use this implement. And you're just squeezing it like this. It turns, so it's pretty hard. And you try to use a lot of weight. You only use one arm with this one. So you're deadlifting. You have it down here, and then you grip it like this, and you bend it down, and then you stand up with it. It's like a one-handed deadlift, but you try to hold on to it, and you bring it back down, do another rep, and this really makes your hands strong. And sometimes I'll even I'll show later on. I'll make another part of the video, but you hook it to the thing, and you got it, and you could just do. Almost dropped it. You can take the grip or take the handle, and then you turn it like this as it's connected to that loading pin. You put weights on it, and then you could turn. You could work your forearms like that too. And by doing all this work, I would do it. I wouldn't do every exercise in a row. I would maybe do a couple exercises per workout. Maybe have a day or 2 rest, and then do another one. And by doing that, making your hands and forearms strong, it makes all the other weights seem really light. Everything goes up. Your bench press, military press, pull-ups, curling, everything goes up when you increase your strength and grip. And here's another thing I made. This is a wooden thing. I learned this by one of the grip guys. I watched his video on YouTube. And it's just a board. There's a nail or a screw on each end. You put weights on there. And then as you lift it up, the thing opens up. And you're using 2 hands. You got one hand here, and you got your other hand on the other side. And you close it. It's like, as you're lifting it up, it's just like a teeter-totter. But when you have weights on those things, and then you close it with your hands, and oh my God, what a workout you can get. And that's good. I'll probably be doing that today because my other wrist hurts actually in my right hand, but I can still do grip. I paint for a living, so I just strained myself. I don't know how I did it. I didn't even work out yesterday, and I woke up this morning, my right wrist is hurting, which is really weird. So now I got both wrists kind of hurting. But I paint and I work out, so I do a lot with my hands, and I may have to start wearing some wristbands just to give it more protection. But this is another thing I just made. I just got two boards, 2x4s, and at the Home Depot, and got a hinge, door hinge, and you just screw it on, and now I got my own grip machine. Kind of, it's a different grip machine, and that's what that is. And there's another thing that I have. I'm gonna be going back to talking about all this stuff. There's another thing for card tearing. Yeah, here it is. I got it right. It's a rubber thing I bought from a guy online on how to increase your card tearing so you can tear a deck of cards. You grip this, and I can't use my other hand, I'm filming, and you grip it the same way you would when you tear cards. Not a lot of people don't know that, how to do it, but there's some videos on how to do it. And you just bend this back and forth. Instead of actually tearing cards, this is like a workout thing to build up the strength to tear a deck of cards. Because by the time you're able to tear a deck of cards in half, your grip and wrists are really strong. And it's just kind of cool. It's just like I gotta fix that drawer. It's just basically, a strength feat that you're able to do. Well, I gotta watch out for the cat balls while filming. Here's Danny. Danny's trying to get a little meat from underneath the chair. But I got toys everywhere for the cats. I got 2 cats. You gotta make them happy. I'll just watch TV sometimes and work out with this thing. And then, I'll do that towards the end of my grip training. But of course I can't do anything like this right now because I'm trying to let my wrist heal. But this is... Oh, you got it, Danny. You got it. She just loves these toys. Watch, I'll show it. I'll show y'all. She'll fetch for me. Put that down. All right, Danny. Okay, Danny. Go get it. Bring it here. She usually fetches. Of course, she probably won't do it now when I'm trying to film. Actually, I'll know how she'll do it. All right, I call it a mace. Give me the mace. Let me use my other hand. Danny, see this? Go get it. She'll bring it over. She'll want me to throw it back. She fetches like a little puppy. Come on, Danny. Danny. Oh, there she is. Bring it over here. She has to play with it for a little bit. Roll around, throw it up in the air. Come on. Give me the mace. Danny, give me the mace. I see you. You give me that mace. Got the air conditioner in the back. I'll have to be putting that in the window. Probably in another month, hopefully. Gets warmer out. Come on, give me the mace. Give me the mace. I see you. Bring it over here. Give me the mace. Here she comes. See? Where is it? Where'd you put it? Where'd you put it? There it is. Ah, she drops it. Here. Go get it. She'll bring it over here. Watch. Give me the mace, Danny. Go get me the mace. Bring it here. Give me the mace. Come on, give it to me. Bring it here. I'll throw it back to you. See? She drops it there, and then she'll wait for me to throw it. All right. Bring it here. Come on. See? Bring it here. All right. She'll usually come up and tap me. She'll just like, bam, taps me on my leg or arm. All right, I'm gonna throw it up in the air and see if she'll leap. Oh, usually she does, but. Come on, Danny. Bring it here. Come on. Danny. I will film them together a little later. They wrestle around. Oh my god, it's so funny. My mom's cat, Jerry. So Jerry and Danny will just wrestle around and run around. It's just hilarious. But here's another implement. Watch out. Here's another implement that I just bought. Got it on Amazon. And it's in this box. I almost forgot. This you put up on a bar. I got a bar out in the garage. And these are for grip. And you hook this around a bar, and then you hang on to these balls and like this as you're pulling yourself up. It's really hard, but instead of gripping a bar normally, you grip it by these cannonballs, and it strengthens your fingers like crazy. And I wanted it also to keep so I can do pull-ups and keep my wrist straight. Instead of grabbing a bar like this, I can hang on to this and keep my wrist straight as my wrist heel. So I got 2 of these. Comes in 2 in a box, and I spent a lot of money on grip stuff. It's crazy. All this stuff in here, everything's about grip right now for me to get stronger in it. And of course, I got an injury, so I can't even use most of this stuff right now until my injury gets better. Man, that makes me mad. Okay, I want to go over a couple of sites. Actually, it's on YouTube. Some of the people's channels that you can really learn a lot. One is Jed Johnson. He's really into strength training and a lot of grip. He has world records in grip feats and stuff like that. That's not him in there, but actually this guy, let me go to that picture. He and they also do a radio show or a podcast every week also. And that's really interesting when they talk about contests and what thing people do. Anyways, that's really hard to grip a plate. That's a 45-pound plate, and that is so hard to grip that and lift it up off the ground. I don't know if you've ever been to a gym and tried to do that, but I can't even do it with 25 pounds. 10 pounds is really pretty hard for me. I could do it a little bit, but you have to specifically train for that. And I want to do that because then when, in the gym, you have guys, benching 300-400 pounds, maybe 500, not in my gym. I haven't seen that. But, 400 pounds, and I guarantee they can't lift a 45-pound plate like that. Because that's specific training and specific strength in the hands that most people don't train for. And, that'd be kind of cool to be able to do that. You could be thin, you could be skinny and do that, and then you got some big jacked guy weighing 260 pounds, 300 pounds. They could bench a lot and lift a ton of weight, but they can't do that. So that's that one. All right, Jed Johnson. He has a really good channel here, and he goes through a ton of stuff. I even bought a couple of his courses. For making your wrists, hands, and forearms really strong. And he goes through a whole mess of videos and the proper way of training. But here's some of his. He has a ton of videos. And he was in the Arnold Classic training or competing in the grip. They had the grip contests at the Arnold Classic. They have bodybuilding and strongman and all that too. But he competed in that. I talked to him on the phone also. He's a really nice guy. I gave him a call, and he answered, and it was kind of cool. So I bought a couple of his courses, and I learned a lot from him. So let me see, what else did I want to talk. Oh yeah, he has a lot of. He knows everything about grippers, and he has a ton of different grippers. And he's, if you want to become good at squeezing like the number 4 gripper, which is really really hard, not many people can do it. But if you specifically train for it, you can probably get up to it. Um, he goes through that in some of his courses and everything. And let me go to the next guy. Brian or Alshura or something like that. This guy has a great channel too. He talks about strongman stuff and how to get real world strength, not just doing curls or anything like that. He talks about deadlifting, but he also knows how to do the human flag. That's kind of cool. Let me see. He talks about like mistakes you should not do. And he was in the Arnold Classic competing, I think. Or no, he just had a booth there. But his videos are very instructional. And actually, he came down. He had a problem. He didn't realize it, but he had a parasite in his body. It was getting in his brain and in his stomach. And he was throwing up all the time, getting sick. He couldn't even work out after a while. He could work out a little bit, and then he said he had to go and throw up. He couldn't really train as hard as he used to be able to. And he's had it for a number of years, but he's in good shape, so he's fighting it. But he finally went to a doctor in New York City. One of these videos describes what happened and what he did, but he went to a doctor in New York City, and they figured out, took blood tests, did all sorts of exams on him and things I don't even want to mention, but he went through a big, huge whole exam, and they found out that he has a parasite, and now I think he's on some kind of antibiotics and other treatments for it. So he's getting better, and they're going to kill the parasites. But it's a good thing he went, because usually people die when it gets to your brain, and after a while you kind of die. It's not good having that. There he is. I think in this video he talked about it. The medical mystery solved. And it's good that he's getting better. And because he's a good guy, he has a good channel. You learn a lot from this channel on anything on getting strong and just becoming healthy and stuff like that. Not talking about drugs or anything like that, even though some people do take it, but he just goes on. He even has a seminar there. He just goes and talks about everything you want to know about getting, really strong. And you don't have to be 250, 300 pounds either. You can be like 170, 180, whatever. And he tells you how to do the exercises and how to, you'll just be, you'll be an animal if you start doing his stuff. He talks about the core, abs and stuff like that. Another guy, this guy, Brian Shaw, his channel's called Shaw Strength, and he is another guy that he competes in the strongman competition. He's a big guy. He's, I think, 350 or 400 pounds. He's huge, but he's a wicked nice guy too. His videos are great, and he talks about getting strong and grip training too. He does a lot of grip stuff, and he has he was at the Arnold Classic. He had a booth there and some other places where he goes to visit and does seminars. He goes all over the world. They have a video of him on a plane. Let me see if I can find that down here. It's kind of funny. It has like a picture of him just standing in the plane. He's a giant. I think he's like 6'7", 6'8". And let me see. Where is it? This guy's powerful though. He does, yeah, the yoke. They have that a lot in the World's Strongest Man competition. Yeah, here's a picture of him in a plane. He's just a giant. It's kind of funny. He talks about that traveling and stuff. And let me see. Yeah, he has question and answers. People, email him questions, and he answers them about anything about strength. Actually, see that bar? That's a different kind of bar where you can have it so you don't have to have, when you're doing squats, you don't have to have your hands behind your shoulders when to hold the bar. You have them in front because the way the bar is angled, and they have handles on the front. It's a cool bar. I was doing that today, and it kind of didn't feel good on my shoulders. I think I needed a different padding. The kind of bar that I was using didn't have the good pads on, but it was okay because I got a bad shoulder. It kind of hurts, so I don't want to like bring my shoulders all the way back. I'm up there in age, even though I don't look it. I'm 52, but I feel like I'm 32. But of years of squatting and just abuse with deadlifts, not deadlifts or bench pressing, I just kind of ruined my shoulders. But that bar is kind of cool if you can find a good one, because then you don't have to have your hands behind your shoulders, which behind your back. Well, shoulders, yeah, basically, and it puts a lot of stress on your shoulders. But if you're young, you can probably get away with it, but that's a lot of weight. He has a lot of plates on there. But he talks about everything. It's just cool watching his videos, how he trained for the World's Strongest Man competition, and different stuff. He lifts cars too, trucks. He pulls trucks. He pulls, like, there's a truck. He pulls that. I think he pulled an airplane before. I think he might be one of the guys that did it. But him and his wife, they're really cool. They're real nice. And there's that Brian guy. He's in his video. Legendary grip strength. Oh yeah, they were training grip that day. Brian, this guy, he started training his grip. His grip is phenomenal. He can have world records. He could beat anybody if he gets into it. After he probably leaves the strongman competitions, after he gets done with that, because he can only do that for so long, he could go into the grip training world and compete in those contests, and he would blow everybody away. Number one, his hands are huge. He's just a big guy, and he's strong. Big guy. And let me see, there's a log press. He's just walking with it. Or maybe he's not walking with it there. He's just pressing it up. But here's grip implements. It's they cut dumbbells in half. That's what they do to compete. They cut them in half, and then you got to try to pick it up with one hand. That's hard. Depends how heavy it is. I couldn't do a 50-pounder, and he's doing, forget it. He's doing a lot. And the Rolling Thunder, he's doing 255 pounds Rolling Thunder. That's great. And he doesn't even train that much for grip. He does a little bit, but when he gets out of the World's Strongest Man, he starts doing his grip, he's going to be doing world records. I remember they had one video of him, and he handed somebody a 45-pound plate, and he did it by the hub. Like that picture I showed you before. He did it by the hub. Let me see if I can get to it. Yeah, right there. He kind of handed a guy a plate that way with ease. It was just so funny in the video that when he did that, and everybody's like, "Jeez, wow!" They were kind of laughing. But it's a lot of strength stuff that he talks about and how to get good in the squat, deadlift, and he doesn't do much benching. World's Strongest Man, they don't really bench, but this guy can bench a lot. Those are the 170-pound dumbbells. But they're thick grip. I remember seeing that video. It's the thicker the grip, like it's like 2 inches and something around. It's not the skinny, like the regular dumbbells that you go into a gym. They got normal handles that we use, but you can have the thicker ones, and it's harder for your hands. It's harder for you to lift it if it's thick, because you have to use more of your hand strength to lift it. And so the skinnier the better. The thick, I have one friend, he thinks it's, me and him were having an argument. He goes, "Oh my god, that if you got thicker handles it should be easier." I go, "No, it's not. It's harder." That's why strongman back in the day, when they were lifting those heavy dumbbells, they would have thick handles, and they were used to it, and they trained for it, because you have a guy in the they would have a guy in the audience say, "Hey, you think you could lift this? Come on up and try." And they couldn't, because the handles were so thick. When you have thick handles, nobody can lift them unless you specifically train for it. So that's one of their tricks that strongmen did back in the day. Is they had these really thick handles, and nobody could lift those dumbbells. So that's, here he is. He's I think he's interviewing Mike Tyson. I saw that video. And there he's benching with chains, and he's doing partial reps where you lay the bench down on that. You're not going all the way down, but you're just laying it there. You can do a little more weight, but you're doing this you're doing the range where you can do more weight. Instead of doing the full range, you're doing only half. The upper part is where you can handle more weight. But most of the time, you're only lifting what you can handle through the whole range, so it's really, you're doing less. But if you do partial reps, like only this part, the upper part, you can put way more weight on, and that makes it stronger, too. If you do that, that makes it stronger in everything. I remember I was doing that for a while, and my triceps and my shoulder press, I started getting wicked strong just by doing partial rep bench pressing. That's a little tip. That if you start doing that, you will get stronger if you're really into lifting weights. And here's that bar I was talking about before, where you're squatting, but you have the handles. The way the bar is, bended and made, and then you have the handles in front. You don't have to have your arms way in the back to hold the bar. You have it in front, and it's less stress on these shoulders. And it's a cool bar, but boy, the pads that I had, it just didn't feel right today. I don't know. Maybe I got to get used to it. I don't know. It was a little tough on my shoulders, to be honest with you. And another guy, look at that. Well, first, look at he's deadlifting 1,025 pounds. That's a lot of weight. Actually, locally, there's this guy that was telling me that there's somebody doing like 1,200, 1,500 pounds in his gym around where I live. I'm like, I don't know about that. He's not doing that much around here. If he's doing that, then he should be competing in the strongman. This guy just doesn't know about how much weight people are using. He just had no clue, and I was kind of trying to clue him in. And he was telling me that one of the owners of the gym is a female, and he goes, yeah, she has more muscle than you, Mike. More muscle than us. And I go, oh, well, I said, well, she's probably using, steroids. And he's like, no, she said she's natural. I go, everybody says they're natural. Nobody comes out and says they're using stuff. Everybody says they're natural. And so I kind of had to tell him, I said, there's no girl that has more muscle than we do. I mean, I got a lot of muscle on me. I'm over 200 pounds. Naturally, a girl can't have that much muscle naturally. They just don't have the testosterone. So they have to do, I think one of the drugs that they use is Anavar. I think that's a popular one for girls, and there's a couple other ones that are popular. That's why if you see girls that are really jacked, like in that one thing I was talking about, the girls are really big. CrossFit, yeah. The girls that compete in CrossFit, a lot of them are so big, and they're using, they're using, drugs just to, they have to, just to recuperate, you have to, like football players, baseball players, but definitely football players are getting hit all the time. I mean, you got to use something just to recuperate because you're banging your body so bad, and you got to keep up and compete with other people. So it's just evolved. That's how sports has evolved, with a lot of people using steroids and other drugs. And there's other drugs they can take, and they can pass the test pretty easily. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and you just hear about people that are training people, and they come out and tell them they say, yeah, I'm helping them out, telling them him or her on what kind of steroids or what kind of stuff to take just to compete. So that's what that's about. Anyways, this guy was telling me, he goes, yeah, no, this girl's natural. She said she doesn't use anything. I go, come on. No girl is natural that has more muscle than we do. I'm over 200 pounds, like I said before. And, naturally, I'm not saying, there are some girls out there, maybe once in a great while, there's outliers. But most of the time, they don't have the testosterone flowing in their veins. They just don't have it. And we have way more, therefore we can gain more muscle. And we're stronger and we're more aggressive. It's just the way it is. But some of those girls, when they're on it, oh my God, they're maniacs because their bodies and their brains aren't meant to have that kind of stuff flowing through their veins. And when they're on testosterone and other drugs, oh my God, they become nuts, some of them. I remember seeing this one girl at the gym. Man, she was just a pain to her boyfriend. She was in a bad mood. You could tell she's on stuff. And her boyfriend was just, she was just yelling at him, and he was getting sick of it. She was angry. I mean, it could have been something else, but it just, I never seen a smile on her face. Not once. She always looked angry. And I could tell, I know she was using a lot of weight too when she was working out. I can tell she was, had all sorts of testosterone flowing through her. And, I'm sure she shaves her chin. Guaranteed. Because when girls get a lot of testosterone like that, they have to shave. They start growing whiskers. That's why when girls start want to transition to be guys, that's one of the things they do is they take testosterone. And by doing that, you're going to start shaving and stuff. Hey, it's all chemicals, Here's another one, Michael Hearn. This guy is really cool. Him and his wife, they're having babies soon. I was watching one of their videos, but they got a lot of dogs. He's pretty cool. This guy right here, his videos are so instructive. He explains everything about anything you want to train, like triceps, biceps, for anything you want to know. He talks about it. All you got to do is plug it in when in the search bar, and he'll talk about it. And I've learned a lot by this guy, and he's really nice. He seems, he's in great shape. I'm sure a lot of people hate on him because he works out and he has a no shirt there because people want to see his development. He's not trying to be conceited. Well, he's out in California. Everybody has a big head out there, anyways. But this guy, he's been in the game for a long time. I don't know what he's using, but I'm sure he's not natural. Cause look at that, he's around my age and he's just jacked. He has a young body. His wife is pretty jacked too. I don't know, she might be natural. She used to compete, I guess. But he talks about a lot of stuff. Anything you want to know about training, legs, shoulders, abs, calves, biceps, triceps, whatever. And he has some people on too, some famous people that he trains once in a while. He had the guy from what's it called? He was in the comedy. Oh, I can't even think of it now. It was a good video. He was training them. Jeez, I can't even find it. He was training the guy and his son, and the guy was in the sitcom. It was really funny. David Spade was in it, and they were all just kind of goofing around. Jeez, I can't. He was a gladiator, American Gladiator, also back in the day. I think in the '90s, he was doing that gladiator stuff. Let me see here. I'm trying to find where that guy is. This guy's an ex-football player. He trains a lot with him. Where is it? Can't seem to find it. He had a couple actors on here that I've seen in movies. Let me see if I can. Okay, here it is. One of the guys. He's just a guy in the movie. Actor Max Martini. I've seen him in a bunch of movies. I'm sure you have too. Here's a guy. The Tick versus the Tick. Let me open that up. You've seen him. That guy. Let me see. Patrick Warburton. Yeah, let me see if there's someone. What's the name of that show? No one's saying it down here. But it was such a funny show. I used to watch it all the time. David Spade's in it. Anyways, he would train him. Those guys were doing chest. But he would have some singers. I don't know who that guy is, but he would have a couple of singer people he's out in LA working out at Gold's Gym, and he has all sorts of people that come out and train with him. And he talks about everything. Biceps, the correct way of doing exercises, getting your arms strong, your shoulders, legs. And here's another guy I want to talk about. He has Mark Bell on a lot. Mark Bell's getting ready for a competition. He's a power lifter, but he wanted to just do bodybuilding to check it out. Here's Mark Bell. He does a lot of strongman stuff. He was a power lifter, and he benches a lot. And he invented a thing where you can bench. It's called the slingshot, where you can. Let me see. There's a picture. Let me find some videos. Called the slingshot. I bought it, and it's great. And so you can work out. Yeah, this is one of them, where you can do bench. If you have bad shoulders, you do bench press. But you put this thing on through your arms through it, and then you hold the bar. When you come down, it kind of like keeps your arms close to your body, and then it's kind of easier down here and not as easy up there when you're pressing it. But it really takes the stress off your shoulders. It's so you can still do the bench press, but it's a safer way of doing it. And if you have bad shoulders, it's kind of nice to have. And I bought it, and it's worked out pretty well for me when I work out in my garage. When I don't go to the gym and I go work out in my garage, I want to do some chest, and I'll do that, and I'll also do push-ups. But anyways, he had Rich Gaspari. That's the guy who I saw in a seminar when I was talking about it before. I saw him back in the 80s, and he's older now, but he's still in pretty good shape. Rich Gaspari right there. Michael Hearn was on his on his channel, and he has wrestlers, because he used to be a little wrestler. Not a little wrestler. He used to wrestle a little bit, and he didn't go too far with it. But that's what he looked like when he was wrestling. Actually, that's his brother. His brother passed away a few years ago. He accidentally OD'd, I guess. He was on some pills and had a problem, but everybody said he was a great guy and everything. He just, couldn't get off the drugs. But that's Mark Bell. And he doesn't look like that anymore. He just, he has a normal haircut. Actually, I think he shaves it. But he has a really good instructional channel here, too. You learn a lot. They goof around a lot. And they have a podcast going on. I like listening to those things, too. And they just go through a lot of training and how to do things, and just interesting. He has interesting characters on, and they talk about their lives and how they got into training, what they eat. Some people are, just meat eaters. Some people are vegetarians, but there's him. He's pretty thin there. That's when he was getting ready for a show. Well, there's another channel I like going through, and if you want to learn about getting strong, how to do proper things, and just getting ideas on doing workouts. I mean, obviously you don't have to use that much weight, what they're using, but he has seminars and stuff like that you can listen to and watch, and they go about on how to correctly perform the exercise. And, I think it's a great channel. And now here's Dr. Squat. I think they call him Dr. Squat. I think Ed Cohen. I think they used to call him Dr. Squat. That was his nickname. But he's a powerlifter, and back in the day, he's still pretty strong. But they have him on the channel. He talks about so much to learn from guys like that were back in the game, back in competing and doing it, and how to do the correct form. And by watching these before you go to the gym, it kind of gets you going. It kind of gets you in the mood of working out. It's like watching the Rocky movie. It makes you want to work out, or makes you want to take up boxing or something. It just gets you hyped up. Some people like listen to their music before they work out and when they work out. That's another thing at my gym. Obviously, the girls, they have to wear headphones. Otherwise, guys would be hitting on them all the time. So it's like they have to have headphones on and listen to their stuff. Or even if they're not listening to anything, they probably just have the headphones on, so it makes it so they're in their own world, so no guys will come up to them, because girls, they get in such good shape and they start working out a lot. They, guys would come up to them all the time, so they kind of have to put up their guard. Otherwise, they'll never get anything done, and they get hit on way too much. Because some of the girls are really, in good shape. And of course, like I said before, there's some girls that are, taking it to a different level, which is, questionable, I guess. But, that's the headphone thing I was talking about. Let me see. Yeah, they got a lot of seminars here too on this channel. I like watching those. I haven't seen some of these though. I gotta go back here and watch some of them and see what they say, because they're kind of interesting. If you're interested in learning while working out, everybody, more and more people are interested in learning how to work out. Here's a picture of Gold's Gym back in the day. There's Lou Ferrigno, the Mentors brothers. They both passed away. It's kind of sad. One, I can't remember if he committed suicide or what. They both were pretty jacked up, and they were pretty big. They were, I think, no, they weren't twins, but they were brothers. That was kind of a sad story about those guys. There's a lot of old. There's Tom Platz. They're the Barbarian Brothers in the back. There's a guy. Some of these people look familiar, but that was back in the old days. Gold's Gym, Venice. That's where, if you wanted to see famous people and see all the famous bodybuilders, you go to this gym. That's where my friend went that one time and got pictures with these two guys. And actually, let me stop this video and I will be able to find those old pictures. Let me get it right now. Okay, here is my friend there. He actually has a twin brother too, but he went out there with a friend, and this is where he met these guys. And let me see, let me get it a little bigger. Oops, there we go. This was hanging up in our gym back when I was training at this one gym. This was on the wall. It was kind of cool. Everybody loved it. Yeah, look at the Gold's Gym now. I mean, back then, look at that. Now it's like a fitness center, but it was like just hardcore old stuff. Look at that neck. That's funny, though. That was back in 1984. He went out there. He said they were pretty cool. They were funny. Let me get rid of that. Here's another one. Here he took pictures of them. Here's he's there somewhere, but he was up on the stairs somewhere, up on another level. And here they are working out, but they're getting, people come in and just start talking to you, want your autograph and stuff. Here's one of them. He was doing dumbbell shrugs, he says. Here they are here. But look at this equipment, this old equipment. Back in the day, the gym's not like that anymore. It's all new, and they got new stuff, everything. It's just like, and they got rooms. They got another room just as big as this up somewhere else. Yeah, let me see. I remember seeing some recent videos of people working out here. It's all different now. This is back in '84. It's totally changed. Look at all this old equipment. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Okay, here's a picture of them in DC Cab. I mean, not DC Cab, Flamingo Kid. Matt Dillon was in it. These guys just played a couple of lifeguards. There's a picture. Let's see. Yeah, they played in a couple of lifeguards in it. It was kind of funny. There's them in their movie. But I think it's enough of talking about these two guys. You can only... Oh, there's that guy right there. He's been in movies. Oh, I can't remember his name. My friend knew him. My one friend who owned a sports supplement company, he sold it to Rexall. He made millions. He knew all these guys. He met everybody. But here's some of the strong guys. Here's this guy was a powerlifter, and over here, this guy, I can't remember his name. He got into ultimate fighting afterwards, but he was a strong man. He used to compete. And a funny story, here's Hulk Hogan. A funny story about Hulk Hogan. My friend, he's trying to get him to his store. My friend owns a baseball store, and he's trying to get him to do some signings. And he had dinner with Hulk Hogan and everything. Him and Jimmy Hart, the Mouth of the South, back in the day. Those guys were wrestlers. Mouth of the South was... like a manager guy. He was just, cocky, yelling into the microphone, just being a jerk, but he was funny though. Anyways, him and Hulk are really good friends, and my friend and his business partner ended up having dinner with those guys and trying to get them to come out and do some signings. and but not quite. You know, it's Hogan. He doesn't need to do it. He lives down in Florida. I don't think my friend's going to be able to have him now because he's making a lot of money down in Florida now, doing some other stuff for another company. So even though he has millions of dollars, but it's just he can't pass up the money. But he was really nice though to my friend. He was just a cool guy. Let me see if there's anything else. Oh yeah, there. Look at that bench. That's an old bench. He's doing some preacher curling with the cables, and that's a weird picture. See that? Wow, that's an old picture. That's one of them with his girlfriend. That's kind of funny. Um, Let me see if there's any other strength stuff to talk about. There's a picture of them in one of their seminars. I remember that picture. Look at that 150-pound dumbbells curling. Um, Let me see what else. Yeah, that's what they look like now. Just older. DC cab. But this guy right here, can't remember his name. He's a Polish guy. Really tough, strong. Whoops. There's them at their seminar. This is a different seminar. I wonder what that is. Doing some weight. Pressing some weight. Let me see. I like talking about strength. I like talking about stuff like that. Is there any other stories that I know about anybody? I know certain stories about people just from people meeting other people. Oh, I got one of these photos. Richard Keel. He was in a lot of James Bond movies, but he was in one of their movies. I think it was Double Trouble. He was in. Played a bad guy, of course, but it was a comedy movie. No, Think Big. He was in Think Big. And I remember ordering one of these pictures, and I had him sign it. And Richard Keel, he passed away too. I think I got that picture somewhere, but I gotta look for that. But he was with these guys. They all did a movie together. Let me see what else. I guess that's it for now. I'm gonna go into one of my workouts, my grip training workout. I'm gonna film something I want to talk about on a certain way to get stronger in your grip.
Lean and press a kettlebell overhead with your left arm. Keep your arm extended over your shoulder. This is the starting position. Looking straight ahead and keeping the kettlebell locked out above you, flex your knees and hips and lower your torso as far as you can, keeping your head and chest up. Pause at the bottom position for a second before rising back to the top, driving through the feels of your feet. Hold a kettlebell next to your shoulder. This will be the starting position. Dip your body by bending the knees, keeping your torso upright. Immediately reverse direction, driving through your heels to press the kettlebell overhead. Lock out by extending the arms and lower the weight to perform the next repetition. Bring the kettlebell into the rack position, left elbow by your side, weight in front of your left shoulder, palm facing in. Push your hips back and lower your body into a squat until your thighs are parallel to the floor. Then stand back up. Stand with the kettlebell just outside your shoulder, palm facing forward. Push the weight straight overhead and slowly lower it back down to the starting position.